addict that took over this home. And so that makes it very dangerous for the neighbors that surround that property. We need a department of eminent domain, or a department of foreclosure, where their job is just to focus on these homes that are empty and get the owners to contribute their fair share of the taxes in this town.
Now, it seemed to me that, we have, many difficulties in Irvington. If you guys we have another 10 to 15 minutes. If you guys had to say that there are 3 things that are very important in Irvington and important in this election, and that you guys are going to bring to the residents of Irvington, what 3 things would you guys say that are very important as far as the things to make a difference in Irvington is concerned?
Well, I'll say this right here. We collectively agree that police protection and safer streets for the residents is one. Senior citizen services, along with veterans and youth service programs, more programs for the youth to improve the quality of life, and recreation alternatives is 2 for the youth and the families. And the third thing would be fair taxation and municipal services. We do not have those. That would be the top 3 that we will expound on.
Okay, Valerie, you like to add anything?
Yes, I would like to add my 2 special groups. More programs for special needs children. They are the voiceless in our town, and often, set aside. When we talk about creating programs for kids, there are very little to no programs for our children that are considered special needs. Also, immigration. We have a lot of immigrants in our town. We can't continue to ignore them. We need to offer them services, computer training, GED training, how to get their papers all in order. So I would add those 2 groups that are very dear to my heart.
Well, I would say jobs, because we are in a community where people need economic, financial services so they could do better for themselves and for their family. I would say also opportunity for business to come in town for economic development. And I would add also opportunity for major corporation to come in town and give small business opportunities. Basically, these are my ideas.
Now, this is something that peeves me quite a bit. And I don't think because I live in Maplewood, I'm living in a cocoon, and the individual living in Irvington is totally different from me. But I always had this question. When you leave Maplewood, streets of Maplewood, and you enter into Irvington, you could tell right away that it's no longer Maplewood, it's now Irvington. Why does the streets of Irvington have to be in that state? And it's like the difference between 12 inches. For the life of me, I cannot understand why that is. Help me with that, guys.
It's funny you said that. 21 years ago when I first moved to Irvington, I thought I was moving to Mayberry. Many people, I'm telling my age, but many of us that are over 50 or near 50 understand Mayberry was a beautiful town with Sheriff Andy Taylor and Deputy Fife. You had a clean community with Aunt B and everybody on the porch, with the apple pie and everything. Irvington was beautiful. I didn't want to go out any further. Plus, it was easier access for me to get back and forth to work. I was like in my own community. It was a desirable area. Many people came here because it was desirable. Many people from New York, they came because it was desirable. It was inexpensive to live here, and you can raise your family. Had good schools, they had good stores, they had some jobs there. So it was your ideal community. For some reason, it's changed. It used to be a point where when you drove down Springfield Avenue, you knew you were going into Newark. Now it's the opposite. When you drive down Springfield Avenue, you know you're in the Irvington, and you're like, wow, Newark looks better than Irvington. That's sad.
Yeah, and that's such a good point. And for me, as I continue to say that, I am not blinded by the fact that I live in Maplewood and that I should ignore the things that are happening in Irvington and the things that are happening in Newark. I think it's so important that we understand that, we have to look at it and say, you know what, that's unacceptable. It really is unacceptable. I see the campaign manager wants to say something.
Oh, absolutely. See, this is one of the most pressing issues in the community. And since you brought Maplewood and South Orange and Union in there, I'm going to appeal to them as well. Because, you see, if we stabilize crime, if we reduce crime in Irvington, if we increase the quality of life in Irvington, it would have a domino effect.
Absolutely.
On all our neighbors.
Yes.
We're neighbored by 4 municipalities. Newark to our east. We have Hillside and Union and Maplewood. And then I guess East Orange, not exactly East Orange because it's kind of Newark still. But the point is this, okay? We cannot. Maplewood has a vested interest in Irvington. And I want Maplewood residents and Milburn residents and Hillside residents to see that. We are in the trenches and we'll do the fighting. But we need the support. We need, if you like what you've heard here today, and if you like the change that we're advocating for Irvington, you talk about when you can tell the difference as soon as you get past New Jersey Transit Depot, you automatically know you're in Irvington. I'll tell you why that is. It is disrespect to the taxpayers. One more time. It is disrespect. As a taxpayer, I feel disrespected when look, I can understand that you don't have a police to send to every car accident. What I cannot understand is that you let our children live in filth. You let our children, all the people that are running, and I'm not going to be as kind as my colleagues here, the president of the council for 10 years, you know who he is. He's now running for mayor. The mayor, every time you complain, it's a brush off. We're tired of being disrespected. We want our neighborhood clean. All the neighbors, every one of them, we talk to them. There are a lot of people who don't shop in Irvington because it's too dirty. The infrastructure of Irvington has not been touched in a decade. Why is that? Why does it take years to fix the potholes? Why is it that Maplewood and Milburn and South Orange have gotten a grasp on their pothole issues and Irvington has not started? It's a safety issue. It costs the residents and the taxpayers a lot of money to repair their cars. So what I'm saying is this. When we look at a classic example that I'm going to give you of governmental mismanagement and governmental lack of transparency and governmental total disdain for the community. People like myself, people like my mother, people like my neighbors, okay, is that Irvington General Hospital, okay? The mayor likes to say, look what's coming. It takes the mayor 12 years for something to come. I don't understand that. I don't understand how a vibrant hospital that when it was taken over and when they left, and the mayor was supposed to have been on the board of directors, and he didn't even know. We found out in the paper that the hospital was closing. By the time we got to the community hearings, it was a done deal. But that's not the problem. The real problem is the negligence with public property. Okay? They allowed vandals to vandalize that building. That building was worth multi-million dollars. And right now they gave it away for next to nothing. I think it's a little over $1 million. That is unconscionable. From an economic standpoint, the land alone, I don't understand how they charge us $180,000 for our land that is less than a half an acre, and the hospital that's almost 15 acres. That land has been given away, and they value that land at $1 million plus. I don't get it. The mayor likes to talk about Valley Fair. Well, let me tell you something. Progress is not 4 walls. That Valley Fair property is not brought in $1 to the Irvington tax ratables. And yet every year and every summer they tell us, oh, look what I've done. It is time for new change and new vision in Irvington. It's time to bring in professional instead of playing curry favor to people who are incompetent in government, who are entrusted with our our assets. And again, I put the hospital at the top of the list because that's a classic. And we have a professor here. When they teach how government should not operate, the hospital, the Irvington General Hospital, and the history of what became of the Irvington General Hospital. And quite frankly, I think that deal needs to be investigated.
Well, when you look at these things and I'm an outsider, and I'm wondering, are these things an easy fix? Are these things really difficult to make sure your streets are clean? To make sure you have a quality of education? Are these things really, really difficult? Guys, help me here. Help me. Valerie?
I don't think it's difficult. I think it's the priorities of the administration. A clean town is not on their list, high up on their list. The quality of life is not high up on their list. No, I don't think it's that difficult. We can gather citizens to come together, and they're starting to do this to clean their town because it's not getting done. So the citizens themselves are rallying together and picking like a Saturday afternoon and cleaning up the streets. Again, it's not at the top of their list. It's not their priority. What is their priority? Well, currently now is getting back in office, so you're not going to get a whole lot of stuff done. But it seems to be a no-brainer. Clean the streets, make people feel good about where they live. If they just see trash all around, they're going to say, nobody cares about us, so why should I care? I see people throwing things out of car windows at a red light. They don't care about it if the administration doesn't care about it.
It's like I see in Maplewood we have sweepers, that come down the streets, very, very often, and I just wonder, because this really bothers me, and I talk about this quite a bit, because I'm seeing South Orange and Maplewood, and then I look at Irvington, and then I look at Newark, and I'm saying that, some of the things that we do here, I really and truly believe can be done in Irvington. I mean, of course, if we have if we do things jointly, we'll make life easier, because I keep telling people over and over and over, if you don't take care of what's happening over there, eventually it's going to come into your backyard. And that's the last thing we need. So we need to be proactive, and help what's going on in Irvington, and Newark. But since we are talking about Irvington, help the things that are going on in Irvington, so Irvington can be helped, and South Orange and Maplewood as well can be helped. Valerie, I see you want to say something.
I wanted to give the example, when you talked about this earlier before. Maplewood and South Orange and Livingston, they can't afford to just turn their backs on what's going on in the inner cities. Here's a perfect example. At the Short Hills Mall. When you go to the Short Hills Mall, you think that you're safe. You think that you can go shopping, everything is fine. But then we had a tragic carjacking, right? Yep. And those young men that were accused, arrested, and I guess convicted were from Newark and Irvington. So if you guys don't give us that support, and pay some attention to what's going on, it is more than likely going to spill over into your backyard.
Yeah, and I think I talk about this all the time here on the South Orange Maplewood Online Radio Experience, because I'm not having any sense of false hope that because I live in Maplewood, I shouldn't be concerned what's happening in Irvington. Not because I live in Maplewood and I drive through Irvington and I see the streets unplowed, after a week later. There's ice particles in the street, that I should just say, you know what? I'm only here temporarily. I should be concerned. And something that really bothered me. I went to Irvington one time, and I went to a grocery store. And when I went to the grocery store, I purchased 2 Nutriment, because I'm a health kind of guy, and whatever. And I purchased 2 Nutriment, and I went to the cashier, and the cashier asked me for ID. I said, ID. However, there is the same chain close in South Orange and Maplewood. When you go there, they don't ask you for ID. And I was saying to my friend, wait a minute. I'm trying to understand this. I'm not casting any aspersions, just trying to understand that. Is it okay to ID me in Irvington for the same supermarket and not ID me in Maplewood because maybe of the makeup of